This is Talk About Topeka on Gab Local TV and TV 25. This episode brought to you by Field of Greens and The Break Room. And here's your host, Chris Schultz.
All right, we're here in the studio with my good friend Dennis Dinwiddie from the Topeka Zoo, and we're talking a little bit about the Conservation Connection. World Oceans Day is coming up right out at the zoo. Going to be out there on June 4th, so we're going to be checking that out. How you doing, Dennis?
Good, Chris. How's your day going?
It's going great. It's going really great. Now, okay, you brought in this picture I saw. I was like, I got to show this off on the air, all right?
We like that one.
We're going to show you a picture right here of the world's most dangerous animal. It's responsible for millions of deaths every year, and by its side is a great white shark swimming peacefully. So yeah, that's us right there. So it's important for us to understand our impact on the oceans. It is. It's where the life comes from, right?
It is. Yes, it covers a little over 70% of our entire planet, and in the middle of the country, so far from the nearest shoreline of any ocean anywhere, it's difficult for us to really feel like we should identify that closely with the ocean. But in fact, we have the ability to make lots of positive impacts on the world's oceans from right here in the middle of our country, landlocked on all sides, far from the ocean. For example, many people don't think of Kansas as a coastal state, but many of us do, because Kansas, for example, has the Kansas River running right through our community, 176 miles of Kansas River that empties into the Missouri and then empties into the Mississippi, which empties out into the Gulf and open ocean. Mm-hmm. So something you put in the Kansas River in Topeka, Kansas, can potentially end up in open ocean. And so in some ways, we think of ourselves as a coastal state. Mm-hmm. Other ways that we can have direct impact on the health of the world's ocean is by making good choices when we go out to eat for seafood or purchase seafood. Making positive choices from the Monterey Bay Aquarium seafood watch list, so that we're purchasing seafood, only that seafood that has been sustainably captured or grown or harvested, mm-hmm. as opposed to seafood that the capture or the growth of it has in some way been environmentally very unfriendly.
Mm-hmm. That's true. We as consumers here can be making some of those.
The power of the consumer can do an awful lot to help or to harm our oceans. And of course, we all want to do something to protect our planet in every way we can. So some of the simplest choices we can make can actually have huge positive impacts on the oceans that are so far from us.
Mm-hmm. Now we see, you bring up the Kansas River, those types of things. What can we do here, to be able to take care of that? What when we're really talking about specifically environmental impact on what we do, what can we do?
Well, some of the things are those two: make really good, healthy seafood choices. And if you come to the Topeka Zoo on Saturday, June 4th from 9 to 3, we're not only going to tell you how to do that, we're going to show you how to do that. And Ken Sanford, the seafood department head and chef for the seafood department at Hy-Vee here in Topeka, is going to give you a taste of the green list, seafood from the green list. He'll be making some great seafood right there on the sidewalks of the Topeka Zoo on June the 4th, passing it out to you as you go by, so that you can see just how tasty the green list really is. And that's what they sell at Hy-Vee, is only seafood from the green list of the seafood watch card.
So I have to say, I like seafood. I don't know much about this green list thing.
The beauty of it is you don't have to know anything about it, because you can have a little wallet-sized card, and we will give that to you on that day, everybody that comes in. And if you want to load the app on your phone and you don't know how, you just let us have your phone for 3 minutes, and we'll give it back to you with the app loaded on it. And the next time you shop for seafood or go to order seafood in the restaurant, you'll be able to hit a couple of buttons or look at that card and know if this restaurant or this store is selling sustainably caught or farmed seafood or not before you make your choice.
So what's the alternative? What are the bad guys out there doing that's causing problems?
Well, they're overfishing, basically. The world's oceans are being overfished. With 7 billion people on our planet now, and the amount of seafood harvesting that is going on to feed the thirst and the hunger for seafood around the globe, our oceans are being overfished. But there are lots of places, lots of organizations that are working hard to reverse that. They're fishing only in sustainable ways. They're farm raising fish in sustainable ways, things that will promote good, healthy seafood, but at the same time not promote unhealthy practices for the world's oceans. Other things we can do that are so simple is to simply use less water. The less water we use, the less water ends up going down our drain or out of our house to where it basically ends up back into the natural world, flowing on its way from Topeka, Kansas to the world's oceans, down to Kansas, down to Missouri, down to Mississippi, back out to ocean, carrying with it all the contaminants that we put in it before it left our house, for example. So the simplest things actually do make a difference.
You know, I think about the pictures you see online, the turtles that get caught in the six-pack wrappers, you know, little plastics, and
Right.
you know, they've got, and so it's caused some major damage. I've even seen things where they've invented different ways of holding those that are made of organic materials. So if they did get up in the ocean,
They
that
break
they
down.
could be used as food,
Yeah.
or they break down. Yeah.
And that's something that's so difficult for us to realize sometimes when it seems like the ocean is so far away that, for example, if you use a plastic shopping bag from your store and it hits the ground, if it ends up in the Kansas River, it can end up eventually in the open ocean, having gone through all three of those river systems, and by the time it gets there, it has faded, and then it ends up getting eaten by a sea turtle, because by that time, it's faded to the point that it looks just like a jellyfish, a sea turtle's favorite food. And then, of course, that costs the sea turtle its life when it consumes that plastic bag. So we actually can make an impact on the health of the world's oceans from right here in landlocked Kansas.
So that's the short list of things. If you're interested in the long list, check it out. It's June 4th coming up over at the Topeka Zoo. Dennis, thank you so much for telling us about this. This is a great program
you.
to learn a little bit about how we can affect things from right here in the heartland for our entire world.
We can, and we'll have not only the great seafood being served right there at the zoo that day, but lots of other great activities for World Oceans Day also on June 4th.
So check it out at the Topeka Zoo. That's going to be out there June 4th, 9 to 3. For more information, give Dennis an email or give him a call. Thank you so much, Dennis.
Thank you, Chris.
You bet.